What's up? Welcome to The Stack. I am neonmushroom. Welcome back. If you've been here before, we've got some EDH Commander gameplay for you guys today, and there is actually one of the decks is something you've seen in the very recent past. If you looked at the thumbnail, I'm sure you already know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to get into the game right after. I know the last video you guys probably saw the graphic we had for the patron shoutout and like the like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. We're still working on that stuff. Calvin and I still have to swap files between computers, so I'll do it by myself this time. The patron shoutout is Behemoth, someone who's been subscribed and commenting on most of our videos for like, I think almost the entirety of this last like 3.5, 4 months we've been really active here on YouTube. So awesome. Thank you so much, Behemoth, for being a patron and a subscriber. And that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what decks everyone's going to be playing, who's playing them, and what opening hands they've decided to keep. Okay, first up we have Guy playing Torbran, Thane of Redfell, and he keeps a 6-card hand with a Dormant Volcano, a Dragon Fodder, an Arachi Hatchery, Snake Pit, Goblin Offensive, and a Mountain, and he puts a copy of Tide of War to the bottom of his library per the London Mulligan. And then I will be playing Akiri, Fearless Voyager. I'll be on a 7-card hand with a Spire of Industry, a Flooded Strand, Shuko, Mask of Memory, Return to Dusk, Kazul's Toll Collector, and a Cliffhaven Kite Sail. Then we have Ajdin returning with his partner pairing of Kamahl, Heart of Krosa, and Jeska, Thrice Reborn. He keeps a 6-card hand with a Forest, Spire Garden, Grove of the Burn Willows, Heritage Druid, Rada, Heir to Keld, Lemur Tribe, and he has to bottom a Nature's Claim. And finally, we have Calvin playing what is slowly becoming one of my favorite mono-black commanders, Skittles, the Blight Dragon. He'll keep 3 snow-covered swamps, a Soul Ring, a Dismember, Snuff Out, and a Diabolic Tutor. Alright, Guy wins the die roll, so he's going to start by drawing and playing a basic mountain as his land for turn, and he'll pass to Ajdin, who's going to play Spire Garden as his land for turn, and then tap for green and play Heritage Druid. With nothing else, we'll move to my turn. I'll play Spire of Industry, and then I'll tap it for 1 colorless to play Shuko. I will then pass the turn over to Calvin, who's going to draw his card and play a snow-covered swamp. Then we're going to pass over to Guy for the second turn cycle. Guy's going to start with a Dormant Volcano, tapped, bouncing a mountain to his hand, and with nothing else, he'll pass over to Ajdin, who untaps, draws, and he's going to play a basic Forest as his land for turn. Then I'll tap for 2, and he's going to play Seeker of Skybreak. He'll head into combat, and he will attack Calvin for 1 damage, and with nothing else, he'll pass the turn to me. I'll start my turn with a Flooded Strand as my land for turn. Then I'll tap that Spire of Industry for colorless mana and play Soul Ring. After that point, I'll crack the Flooded Strand, dropping down to 39 to search my library for a Sacred Foundry, put it into play on tap, so I'll take 2 more damage. Then I'll tap all the rest of my available mana and play Kazul's Toll Collector. After that, I'll equip it with Shuko and pass the turn to Calvin. Calvin will draw a card for turn, and then I'll play another snow-covered swamp as his land for turn. Then he'll follow my example and play a Soul Ring of his own. After that, he'll tap the Soul Ring for 2 colorless and play Cranial Plating, and we'll pass the turn over to Guy to start the 3rd turn cycle. Guy will draw, then redeploy that mountain he bounced to his hand last turn, and then tap for 2 and play Dragon Fodder, netting him 2 Goblin tokens. With nothing else, we'll move the turn right back over to Ajdin, who untaps and draws his card for turn. Then he'll Shock Stomping Ground as his land for turn. He'll tap for 3 green and play Lamore Tribe. Now he'll activate Heritage Druid to generate 3 green and cast Elvish Harbinger, allowing him to go get an Elvish Archdruid and put it on top of his library, passing the turn to me. I'll draw my card and deploy a basic mountain, then I'll tap for 3 mana and cast my commander, Akiri, Fearless Voyager.
Animation!
I'll then tap my Soul Ring for 2 colorless mana and play Mask of Memory. I'll use Kazul Toll Collector's ability to equip it to the Kazul's Toll Collector. I'll head into combat and I'll attack Ajdin for 4 damage, triggering Akiri and drawing a card. And then when it deals the damage, I'll draw 2 off Mask of Memory and discard a card. Then I'll play Chromox, imprinting a Return to Dust, and I'll pass the turn to Calvin. Calvin will draw his card, and he'll play another Snow-Covered Swamp as his land for turn. Then he's going to tap 4 and cast Diabolic Tutor. He'll get a Tragic Slip and add that to his hand, and with nothing else, he's going to pass the turn back over to Guy. Guy's going to draw a card and play another basic mountain. Then he'll tap out for his commander, Torbran, and head into combat. He'll hit both me and Calvin for 3 thanks to his Torbran's ability to make his red permanents deal 2 more damage. Move the turn over to Ajdin, who draws, plays Grove of the Burn Willows, then he's going to tap for 3 and play Elvish Archdruid. Ajdin will then use his Heritage Druid to generate 3 mana, tap Lemur Tribe to make 3 more, use the Seeker to untap it to make 3 more, having 9 total. He'll play Kamahl, leaving 1 green floating, which he will then use to help cast Rada, Heir to Keld.
And he is a 5.
No.
He is a 5/5.
Yeah, until combat.
What?
You have a Dismember.
I may have a Dismember.
After all that, we're going to move to my turn. I'll untap and draw my card for turn, and play Windswept Heath as my land for turn. After that, I'm going to tap for 1 mana, and I'm going to go ahead and play Cliffhaven Kitesail, which will trigger and automatically equip to my Akiri. We'll head into combat and attack Calvin with my 4/4 and Guy with my commander, triggering Akiri twice. I'll draw 2 cards, and then I'm going to trigger Mask of Memory when I connect and draw 2 more and discard a card. After that, we'll move to my second main phase. I'll tap for 2 and play Relic Seeker. I'll opt to equip the Relic Seeker with my Shuko for free, and then I'll pass the turn right back over to Calvin. I guess Calvin likes when I'm doing this game, so he's going to follow suit by drawing a card and then tapping for 2 mana to play a Sword of the Animist, his second equipment. And then he's going to tap for 2 more mana, and he will also play Black Blade Reforged, meaning that Skithiryx will be very scary if it comes into play. We'll move to Guy's turn. He'll draw and play a Mountain, and then he's going to tap for 3 mana, and he will cast Ensnaring Bridge. He'll then tap for 2 and cast Aurori Hatchery, where X equals 1. Guy's going to try to pass the turn to Ajdin, but first I have to make a pretty big mistake. I'll tap my Mox for white and cast Path to Exile, targeting Ajdin's commander. And this is a mistake because Ajdin has access to so much mana that this barely sets him back. After that, we will move to Ajdin's turn. Ajdin will draw his card for turn, then he's going to tap for 3 and play Jeska, Thrice Reborn for the first time, but he's already cast Kamahl, so it comes with a 2 loyalty. He'll shoot Torbran and both of Guy's tokens for 2 damage by -2ing her. Then he'll play Jeska yet again, this time with 3 loyalty, and he'll use it to shoot Torbran, my Akiri, and my Relic Seeker. I do have a response. I'm going to crack my Windswept Heath, dropping down to 35, and get a basic Plains. I will then use Akiri's ability on herself to detach the Cliffhaven Kitesail and give Akiri indestructible and tap her, though she is already tapped. After that, our creatures will go to the graveyard. Ajdin decides it's then time to get into the red zone, so he'll attack all out at Guy for 14 damage. Then at the end of turn, Calvin will Tragic Slip my Akiri, and I'll pay 4 life to snuff out my Castle's Toll Collector, effectively wiping my board. After this point, we're going to move on to my 5th turn. After being thoroughly decimated, I'll play a Clifftop Retreat and try to rebuild by tapping for 5 mana and playing my commander with her commander tax. Then I'll equip her with Shuko for free and we'll move the turn back over to Calvin. Calvin will proceed to draw his card for turn, play with his mana for literally 3 minutes, and then pass the turn to Guy.
Hell yeah. Dwarven mine. I have
Fuck
3
yeah.
mountains, got a dwarf.
Fuck yeah, dude.
We're in it.
After getting his dwarf, he'll tap for 4 mana and play Beetleback Chief, who will come into play and trigger. He'll get 2 goblin tokens. Then he'll pass the turn back over to Ajdin. After drawing his card, Ajdin will tap the Tribe and the Harbinger for 4 mana to cast Natural Order, sacrificing the Harbinger, really getting all of his value out of that card this game. He'll get Reclamation Sage and destroy the Ensnaring Bridge. After that, he's going to proceed to perform the Mana Dance, generating a whole ton of mana. This is going to allow him to cast Craterhoof Behemoth, where X will equal 7. He will then head into combat and turn all of his available attackers sideways at me for a grand total of 40 damage exactly. I'll choose to block the Elvish Archdruid with my Akiri, but before damage, Calvin will use Crypt Incursion to exile all 3 creatures from my graveyard and gain 9 life. All of this resolves, I take lethal damage and I will die, then we'll pass the turn over to Calvin, who's going to tap for a black and play Dark Ritual, giving him 3 black mana. So when he taps that Soul Ring, he'll have 5 mana total to cast Skithiryx, the Blight Dragon. He will then equip his commander with Cranial Plating and pass the turn over to Guy.
He drew a mountain.
Boom.
See?
Guy's then going to tap for 7 mana to play Goblin Offensive, where X equals 4 to make 4 Goblin creature tokens. At this point, he decides that he has no really good attacks, so he's going to put those goblins into play and pass the turn right over to Ajdin. Ajdin will untap, draw his card for turn, and then play Yavimaya Hollow as his land for turn. After that, he's going to proceed to do the Mana Dance until he has enough mana to cast his Jeska, Thrice Reborn. When she enters the battlefield, she'll have 4 loyalty. He'll proceed to minus the Jeska, and he'll proceed to point the damage at Skittles, the Beetleback, and Guy respectively. And now we get to see why Jeska can be such a powerful commander, as he's going to generate enough mana to cast her again, this time with 5 loyalty, and he'll use her 0 ability on Craterhoof Behemoth to triple the damage. After that, he'll head into combat and attack Calvin for a total of 15 damage, bringing him to 25, and with nothing else, we'll move the turn back to Calvin. Calvin just drops a snow-covered swamp and simply passes the turn back to Guy for the 8th turn cycle, who plays a mountain, and then he's going to tap for some mana and cast Torbran, Thane of Redfell for the 2nd time. He'll then head into combat and attack Jeska with 4 of his goblins. Ajdin doesn't even want to block, and he just lets her hit the command zone, and we'll go over to Ajdin's turn. Ajdin is immediately going to start performing the Mana Dance yet again to generate enough mana to cast Jeska again from the command zone, this time with a grand total of 6 loyalty. He'll immediately -6 the Jeska, targeting the Torbran, Calvin, and Guy respectively. Then he's going to get into combat and turn everything he has available at Calvin. Before blocks, Calvin's going to tap for 3 mana and cast that Dismember we all knew that he had, targeting the Elvish Archdruid. Ajdin has no responses, so the Elvish Archdruid hits the bin. Calvin takes a grand total of 13, then Ajdin's going to play a Soul Ring too little too late, and pass to Calvin, who's going to play Ichor Rats, giving everybody a poison counter. After that, he'll equip his Ichor Rats with his cranial plating.
Have a boop.
That's a big rat.
With nothing else, we'll move over to Guy's turn. He will untap, draw a card, tap 4 mana, and play Krinko Mob Boss to go with all of those goblins. Then he's going to tap for 1 in Vandalblast, Ajdin's Soul Ring. With nothing else, he's going to pass the turn over to Ajdin, who will untap and draw his card for turn. He'll then proceed to do what he's been doing the entire game because it's been working so well, generate a ton of mana with his elves, cast Jeska Thrice Reborn, -7 to hit Guy, Calvin, and Torbran, putting Calvin out of the game. After that, he has no further action, so we'll move to Guy's turn. He'll play Care Keep as his land for turn. He's going to generate a ton of mana and just cast Torbran and head into combat, attacking Ajdin for a grand total of 21. Ajdin will block the Dwarf token, and he'll take the rest of it for a grand total of 18 damage to the face, which brings him to 16. After that, we go to Ajdin's turn. Ajdin's going to untap, do the mana dance, generate enough mana to cast Jeska yet again.
And she comes in with 8 loyalty, right?
Yeah.
So minus 8er, right? And then hit him for 8, and then hit your own Crater Hoof for 8, and your own hit your Crater.
And your face.
Yeah,
me.
and your own
Yeah,
face.
and
Yeah,
me.
that was amazing.
Ajdin wins the game.
Alright, so those of you who pay attention to what Calvin says at the end of his videos, you probably already knew that there was a Jeska Kamahl win coming, and that was it. Jeska was absolutely insane that game. We're going to kind of wrap up the game here at the end. I'm actually a little stretched for time right now because we're working on a few projects at the same time, so I'm going to do this pretty briefly. Expect some more in-depth analysis on the next video. But we'll just start with the person who died first, which was actually me. I was playing my Akiri deck, and I died first because I presented probably the most threat to Ajdin, who was in the winning position, and he played Crater Hoof and was able to knock me out. And luckily, he was able to use that Reclamation Sage to take out the Ensnaring Bridge. Otherwise, there was no way he was going to take me out in general. So my game plan was executed pretty well, but I was noisy and I couldn't protect myself from lethal, and I thought I was a little bit safer than I actually was because Guy's Ensnaring Bridge was there. I should have known that the green deck could tutor for the green creature to make the bad artifact go away. Next in order, we have Calvin, who is playing Skithiryx or Skittles, the Blight Dragon, and everything did not go according to plan. It looked like it was at first, but he missed his 4th land drop, and even with the Soul Ring, Skittles is actually a really mana-intensive commander. You need to have a lot of mana to make it work to be able to one-shot people the second that Skittles comes into play. Calvin wasn't able to execute on this. He tried to do some politicking in the game that didn't really work out in his favor in this specific game, and he was knocked out because, well, he was in the position to actually kill Ajdin. It didn't matter what position Ajdin was in. Once you hit 10 Infect, you are dead. And then there was a Guy playing his Torbran deck, which we need to tune up. This is kind of a list we just picked up. We aren't super pumped with the way that it's tuned. There's some cards we want to take out. There's some cards we want to add. That said, he hung out to get second place because usually when you got the worst deck at the table, you get second place because you get taken care of last. He did push a lot of damage through at the end, but it was nothing compared to what Ajdin had presented and put on the table in terms of raw attacking power went. And then there's Ajdin. That was the perfect pod to highlight how good that Jeska Kamahl combination actually is. There were no board wipes. Ajdin was able to use his elves to do the mana dance and generate enough mana every turn to keep casting Jeska and keep the board clean while hitting people in the face. The Kamahl did a good job as well of absorbing a little bit of removal. He was able to keep a lot of his mana pieces around. Unfortunately, that game, we had enough targeted removal where we were able to kind of pick out and remove Kamahl when he came into play. Wasn't really a problem the second that Crater Hoof Behemoth hit the board, so Ajdin did win the game. It was outstanding. Very enjoyable game to play. Hopefully it was an enjoyable game to watch. That's all I actually have for you guys today. Look forward to another video. I think tomorrow we've got another deck interview from the Commander Legends games. If you're watching this late in the video, so look forward to that. If you're looking forward to seeing Blim Comedic Genius, because that was one of the winners of one of the games we put up. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.